Per usual, living on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. It is Wednesday. Let's talk about some altcoins. I don't have great news, but I don't think that's a surprise. Trend metrics for most alts are just not on your side for price appreciation here. The trend is not bullish. The trend is murky at best for most coins. But the good news is Q4 is likely when we see rates down in a more significant way, liquidity up in a more significant way, and hopefully we'll see some risk. Hope, that's a dangerous word, especially for you altcoin people, but that would be the time that I would expect alts to do well. Looking at the green line there, global liquidity has perked up to a new all-time high on TradingView based on the equation, thanks in part to dollar weakness, US dollar weakness. Stablecoin market cap has turned down a little bit. Altcoin market cap ranging, US liquidity still moving lower. Bitcoin sort of still in this range, not really doing much. Still dealing with supply unlocks. So we are still not there yet. You know, it's like driving. You're the dad driving, and all the altcoin people, they're sitting in the back seat. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? You'll know when we're there. Now is not the time. I think everybody's like afraid they're gonna miss the move, man. There's gonna be this huge move. You're gonna be offsides, Josh. You don't get it, man. I don't think you're gonna miss the move. I really don't think you're gonna miss the move. You can maybe hope to buy at a decently low price, but my trading style certainly does not focus on trying to find the best bottom. So the macro conditions don't look like we are quite in a spot where page 56 of CoinMarketCap starts to do well here. What we want to see is liquidity continuing to push higher, great, but we also want to see stablecoin market cap pushing higher. We want to see rates coming down definitively. Powell came out today and basically said September is a wrap, very likely to see a cut. We have jobs numbers on Friday. If the unemployment rate hits 4.2% or higher, the markets will then most certainly start to price in a cut for September beyond what they already have. And then we'll see what happens. We're down today, potentially on some Middle East war drums rattling. It's hard to say, but we're definitely still in a risk-off period for crypto. And if anything, I worry that semiconductors, NVIDIA being up today and us being down today, we're in this weird anti-correlation, this inverse correlation with semis. Looking at total 2 on the cloud, we're at the 200-day moving average. Everything looks fine. There is nothing bullish about this. There is nothing bearish about this other than being underneath the cloud. This is about as neutral can get. We're still in this multi-month range. You can say, hey, I think this is XYZ. I'm going to do ABC here. That's fine. But for me, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until we're above the cloud. I'm going to wait until this is a clear breakout. I'm going to wait until you could say, well, this is a cup and handle, Josh. Okay. Didn't trade it. Nothing is stopping me or you or anybody from doing whatever you want to do. It's just the analysis isn't there to support it yet, in my opinion. We're just not there yet. Give it a couple weeks. Give it probably to the end of August. We'll know a little bit more, for better or for worse. It just doesn't feel like right now is the time to do much of anything in altcoin land. Looking at Bitcoin dominance, it hit a new closing high yesterday, I think at 56.8 or something. This in no way is telling me or anybody who has half a brain cell, hey, alts look strong here. That is not what this is telling you. This is telling you Bitcoin is the move. But once again, people are so afraid they're going to miss the move, or they're so underwater on alts that they just refuse to believe it, that they can go lower. We just aren't in an environment for alts to do well broadly. If we look at US liquidity in the blue, when liquidity rises on the US side of things, we typically see dominance down, aka alt explosion, alt season. We are not there yet. This is not it. There's only so many ways to say it. Nothing has really changed, certainly since the beginning of the year. But ever since the Bitcoin ETFs, most of the money is going into crypto via ETFs. If it's not ETFs, it's stablecoins. And if it's neither, we're not going anywhere, right? The ETH flows flipped positive yesterday. The ETH flows were greater than IBIT on one day. Congratulations to all the Ethereum watchers on that one. But I don't think that's going to last. And I think we'll continue to see outflows on ETH. Total 2 over BTC is obvious to anybody who knows anything about a trend. We are below the cloud. We've been below the cloud The moment where we start to get above, I'm happy to say it, right? But we're just not there. We're not there yet. We are not there yet. That's a great title for this. We are not there yet. I'll look at some charts in Legacy Land that I would highly recommend putting on your watch list and paper trading at the very least. That way you can start to understand what exactly the cloud is looking for. How do markets react to events? How do markets react to external forces? How do markets react to the meeting in August in Jackson Hole, in September, right? All of this stuff. It's not alt, but it's alt-like. So we'll take a look at those. But we are not there yet. We're not there yet. Could this be the low? It could be. It could also go lower, right? There's no telling. This is certainly not bullish, and there's certainly no support holding this here that says this can't continue to just drift lower, just as dominance is continuing to drift higher. Is this a rising wedge? Is this a falling wedge? Could be, but there's no confirmation of any of that yet. And ultimately, until this is above a high time frame cloud, that's when it's time to say, okay, maybe alts are the play at this point in time. And we probably will not see that until October, when liquidity perks up, US liquidity perks up, and rates in the US likely come down by then. If rates come down because of a perceived recession, I wouldn't expect alts on page 56 of CoinMarketCap to do well. So it's very much a wait and see. Very much a wait and see. Before I go further with all this amazing news for altcoins, let me mention today's video sponsor, Kraken Pro. Kraken Pro is a complete overhaul of the Kraken trading experience with one-stop shop for advanced professional traders. Kraken Pro enables efficient trading execution across multiple markets with a UI that allows for unique optimization tailored to your trading style. You can check out Kraken Pro with a link in the description of this video. Not investment advice. Crypto trading involves risk of loss. Cryptocurrency services are provided to US and US territory customers by Payward Ventures Inc., PVI DBA Kraken. Looking at Kraken today, BTC at the top. That's what we like to see. That's usually more risk on stance, whereas Tether at the top is usually more risk off stance on the volume column here. But let's just go through, right? I like the cloud because I can just look at anything at any time frame and just see what are we doing. BTC still in the range, lost 65. What else is there to say, right? This is certainly on the more bullish side of the range. It is at highs. It's trying to revisit highs. The cloud looks like it's almost ready, but it's not there yet. As BTC goes, so will alts most likely. And you could, of course, just say this is also some sort of downward channel, whatever. Wedge, megaphone, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter until any of this stuff breaks. Ideally, you have some sense of the bias here based on the consolidation, but I don't really get a strong sense of that. So I don't think there's anything to do anywhere, period. End of story. Until we break this range, up or down. I think it'll be up. And if you think it's up, you could say, okay, I think it's up. Let's take the range. Let's measure it with fibs. Here's the high. Here's the low. Here's the target. And that's it. There's nothing else to say or do or to overcomplicate this. Now you're going to get people saying, you know, sell the high, buy the low. You can do that. You can trade the range. That's not what I do. That's not my strength. Alts will start to pop off most likely against Bitcoin, especially after we break out. Let's say for some reason Bitcoin breaks out pre-Q4. But this is where alts will do best against BTC after this breaks out and when this consolidates, probably near 100K. That's when we will start to see people rotating out of BTC looking for something else. Because if this breaks out, it probably holds the attention of the market and you don't get some move on your alt first. You know, alts just, they don't initially follow typically. So again, there's nothing to say here. And if this breaks down for whatever reason, your alt will not be saved. Your alt will not do better than BTC. That's just not what we see historically. So alts are choppy because Bitcoin's choppy. And Bitcoin, to me, looks perfectly bullish here and ready to go eventually, but not yet. So that's kind of the story across the board. Sol, same thing. I had this descending triangle. It's broken out of that. So did BNB if we rewind the clock. I don't think I have a chart on it, but BNB had a similar pattern where it certainly did not look bullish, but that's how it broke. This looks certainly more bullish than bearish based on trend. It is still in the range. I like buying highs. I like buying higher highs. I like buying anything near 200. But until we break up this doesn't look like it's going anywhere, right? You could say there's all sorts of double bottoms, there's a cup and handle, blah, blah, blah. All that is absolutely true, but it needs a catalyst, it needs an impetus, it needs something to move it past 200. That's probably going to be liquidity up, rates down. ETH, interesting that the ETFs go live. ETH, second in the volume here. You have to wonder, between the custodian businesses and the trading side, how will that affect things on the book? Will it push more people into alts that are not listed in legacy land? Perhaps we may be seeing some of that here. I don't think ETH is generally that exciting here. Look at this chart. What excites you about this chart? It's the same thing with Solana. You can draw this in a bunch of different ways. I think this is decidedly more neutral than Solana. Bullish, certainly, or Solana certainly more bullish than ETH. But what is this range? This is nothing. You know, this is, if you want to find something, you could say, well, there's some sort of inverted head and shoulders or something here, but not really until this is above the cloud. Should I really care about it? Not really. Let's look at the 3-day. Maybe eventually you get a TK cross recross on a 3-day going into Q4, right? Like, this is going to take a long time. This is going to take time for ETH ETF volume to pick up, for anyone to care about ETH. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. So nothing about this is trend bullish, still in the range. So that's your top 3. Now we can go down the list. I don't know why Ripple's seeing the volume it's seeing lately, but again, on the high time frame clouds, this thing is a mess. You could say, is there some sort of wedge here? Megaphone, I don't know. We can just keep bumping up the time frames. There's very little trend rationale, if any, to buy here. Yet, into Q4, right? The cloud gives you this. Ripple's another one just to watch if you're not, I don't trade Ripple, but it's a test of the technicals. Into Q4 when the cloud is thin here, will we see price move through the cloud? That would be a great sign for everything. If something like Ripple is able to get off the mat and find a bid, that's what you want to see. You want to see that if you're an altcoin maxi. But we're not there yet. We're just not there yet. DOT, falling below the weekly cloud, that looks ugly. A lot of these other layer ones, as I've discussed for many weeks now, have had all sorts of head and shoulders fractals on this. There's one here. There's one here. There was a triple bottom attempt here. Then whatever this is, woof, 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 whatever the kids say. This looks like bearish continuation. Anytime you're unable to breach the Kijun and the TK across stays bearish, that says bearish continuation. It did not close in the cloud at all on the daily here using these settings, 2061, 2030. Nothing about this is bullish. Absolutely nothing. And if you really want to dig into this and say that's an inverted Adam and Eve, this probably goes sub 5, but I don't really trade the low time frame stuff. I'm certainly more concerned with this behemoth of a pattern. There's all sorts of patterns within that, but the big one, the big kahuna, that's what you want to pay attention to. You do not want to be off sides of that thing. And thus far, it's retested the neckline of this, and this measures basically to what I assume is all-time lows for DOT on Kraken. If we zoom way out, almost all-time lows. I guess all-time low is like 270. And this is just a microcosm of every single layer one. None of them look good here. None of them. We can keep going. Doge, meme coin, again, Adam and Eve all over the place, inverted Adam and Eve all over the place. Or sorry, inverted head and shoulders, whatever. It's just continuously getting denied by the cloud here. There's no trade yet. Ultimately, what you really want is above the cloud on the daily, and it is months away from that. Months. It's just not time. It's just not time. AVAX, I believe, started to catch a bid and got into the cloud, broke the Kijun, and boom, right back down. So this was actually nearly an entry signal, because with the second thing you're looking for in this edge-to-edge move would be a bullish TK cross, which you did not have and you still do not have. So this still looks bearish. It hasn't changed the outlook. The moment it broke down here, it was bearish. It got more bearish with the head and shoulders. It got more bearish with the breakdown of the head and shoulders. And now it's even more bearish with an attempt to break resistance and a failure. So nothing is here. Nothing here looks bearish, bullish. I keep screwing everything up. Nothing here is bullish. Absolutely nothing. Again, the question is, where does this go? take the low, take the high. I assume sub 20 is where this goes. And ultimately, again, this is exactly what you want to look for in Q4. We are so far away from that. We are so far away from anything that looks remotely like this. Now, this could range for the next 2 months and then have this scoop-de-whoop thing into the cloud, but we're not there yet. We're just not there yet. We're not there yet. So that doesn't look good either. Pepe, meme coin. This is probably one of the better looking meme coins, if not the best looking, and this doesn't even look great. But again, you've got like a bottom attempt, maybe. We're not above the cloud yet. Cloud settings, or cloud TK cross, and that is still bearish. So this is kind of the best that it gets, which is neutral. Link had that attempt at a triple bottom a couple times at this level, and this does not look good for Link. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. It's still trend bearish. It even gave you a little fake out there on, that was probably some garbage PR announcement or something. If we measure this lower, we get back to the entry sub 10, certainly, is where I think this would go if things get bearish. Now the question is, can this stuff get bearish on its own if BTC is bullish, or is this going to get bearish as BTC just chops around for another 2 months? I think that's the most likely scenario. I think alts follow BTC higher if BTC breaks to all-time highs, but I don't think alts go in the opposite direction. So in order for alts to actually break down, that probably requires BTC to just chop around. If BTC chops around, alts certainly look like they're ready to break down. They do not look strong at all. WIF, another meme coin, really the same song and dance here. It neutral at best based on trend. What is there to buy here? You know, nothing has changed. It's at the same price it was at since March. None of this looks buyable to me. If anything, you're looking for something that looks like this. Post triple bottom attempt, that failed. Okay, what's the next thing? Anything back above the cloud? This was an Adam and Eve that tried to get above the cloud, that failed. So there's no evidence here on trend to buy any of this stuff. ADA, much like the rest of the layer ones, getting denied. My past scribble. Getting denied at the cloud over and over and over again. It does have a bullish TK cross now. It is still looking like it's trying to break down, but there's nothing on the trend that is helpful here if you're bullish. Absolutely nothing. We can go to the weekly, and it's out of the weekly cloud with a bearish cross. Once again, you are very likely to see, if we see a move at all, a move through the cloud after Q4. Some of this stuff, some of this non-exciting, sexy stuff is probably going to move in Q1. You know, it's probably going to get a late rotation, kind of like how a lot of these alts did in, what was it? Like later on in Q4. You know, a lot of them had this move sort of towards the end of 2023. So we may see something similar where some of these get pushed out into 2025. So the question you have to ask yourself is, okay, do I really want to hold this? Let's say this Josh guy is right. He hates alts, but let's say he's right. Do I really want to hold this until Q1, Q2, 2025? For me, the answer is no. For some people, the answer is going to be yes, but for me, the answer is no. SHIB, meme coin, there's, you know, I have nothing good to say about this, right? Really, it's held below the cloud. The best chance it had was here. And since then, that's been nothing but failure. So there's nothing to do. The next place I'd take a stab at any of these would be the place they broke out in Q4 2023. Like we could just get dragged down all the way to there, I think, pretty easily for a lot of these coins. So just having some blind bids down there and doing nothing with your life in trading land is probably where you want to be. LTC, just like Ripple, I don't really have great things to say about this one. There is not really much of anything going on chart wise here, and I probably said at one point, just like ADA, this could move into Q1 as opposed to Q4 and be one of these like late rotation plays potentially. Monero on a daily range chop, nothing. There's nothing here, right? There's just nothing. You could say, well, I'm bullish on Monero. Okay, that's fine, but the technicals don't support that at all. They just don't. Not the trend technicals anyway. FTM and the AI category, what a momentous fall these have had. There's just there's nothing there at all after this failed up here. The last time I was bullish on this stuff was near, but just look at the chart. I mean, you could say maybe there's some sort of diagonal to watch. That's fair, but we're not even close to that. We're not even close. There's not even a bull div yet. So it needs time. It needs lots and lots and lots of time. Here's near. The last time I was bullish near was up here, and then it broke into the cloud. I was out. Okay, what's next? Well, we're still in this massive wedge, and we're chopping around. Couldn't even get back above the cloud, really. There will be a time. You will not miss it. You just have to be paying attention. Going into these levels, it's just not ready. It's not done yet. I do think 14 to 19 is possible if this breaks up in Q4, but it needs time. Need lots of time. Had some other requests, so let's look at these really quick. Helium, low time frames, inverted Adam and Eve here for sure. This does not look bullish. You're getting a bearish cross on the 4 hour on the cloud there. On the daily, it is still working its way through the daily, at least on the Kraken chart. Doesn't really look ready to me. Aave, probably like most of DeFi, there's just nothing to do yet. As this gets above the daily cloud, I think there'll be plenty to do, but we're not there yet. It's just chop. It's not doing anything. This doesn't exactly scream bullishness to me. Here's another question to ask yourself. At what point do you think most of the market is going to be on board with the bullish argument here? My guess is 155 or higher, and we're at 108, and it's been at this level since mid 2022. Just a whole lot of nothing. I think there's plenty of time to sit and watch and wait. Pendle on the, let's go the 4 hour, because not much trade history on Kraken. The cloud tells no lies. This thing is still below the 4 hour, breaking down, breaking lows. This is not for me. If you want to sit in this for some RWA or whatever narrative, I don't even know what this is. Go for it. But the chart tells me stay away, stay far away until this recovers. ENA is another one. Does not make sense to think about this thing until it shows any signs of strength at all. It hasn't done that. There was a time before this broke down where it looked okay here, and since June, this is not it. It's not the play. It's not the play. Ondo, more of the same. Just range bound chop. Trend is not giving you any help at all. So probably most alts don't look good. Some of the majors, there's BNB. BNB looks like a pretty decent case for an inverted head and shoulders potentially here. Cloud signals almost bullish once again. I would watch this closely even if you don't trade it, just to see how the cloud reacts on the daily. Ton is another one. It looks okay. It's not bullish, it's neutral. It's got a bearish TK cross, but if this can get back above the cloud with a bullish TK cross, then we can start to talk about bullish continuation. To me, this looks better than most of the alts, probably because that's where most of the market has been recently, is playing around in the ton ecosystem, but there's no entry here for me just yet. Anything above 750 and it would probably be go time, but we'll know more into August, September, but not for me at this moment. So as far as charts that you'd want to see in altcoin land, I talk about this one. I've been talking about this one for a couple weeks now, but this is Pfizer. This is what you want to see. You want to see a triple bottom, multiple months, range, chop, gross. Like we are in the range, chop, gross part. That's where we're at on alts, on Bitcoin. The cloud has been nothing but down for a year and a half. And finally, we break out, we retest the cloud, we break higher, we break the horizontal. This is the type of thing on alts that you want to see for confidence in entry, confidence in potential bullish continuation. ARK is another one. I would never trade this, but watching this is probably important because I think a lot of ARK and altcoin retail overlap exists. Maybe this is an ascending triangle headed into Q4. Maybe ARK starts to do better in the pile of junk that's sitting in ARK. But if ARK is doing well, alts probably also do well in a similar environment. So just set an alert on ARK at 52. ARK past 52, my guess is alts start to perk up. PayPal's another one. As far as a cloud to watch on a high time frame, this thing has struggled for years. Finally started to go sideways, and it's really taking it to the nth degree as far as moving its way through the cloud thinning out, and potentially maybe possibly seeing a breakout into Q4. My guess is, again, if PayPal starts to do well, I don't care about the company, I don't care about the business, I don't care about the crypto adjacency, I don't care about any of that. All I'm talking about is the chart. If the chart starts to look better, alts also probably start to look better, but I would look to this chart as an example of things you want to see in alts. TLT is another one. Similar vibes, just pain for years, started to flatten out, started to go sideways, is starting to look better. Not there yet. TYD is another one. This is a leveraged 10-year treasury. This is what we want to see in alts. We just have not seen that yet. We're not seeing any of this yet for alts. As far as the other 6 coins that I talk about every once in a while, AXS, Mana, Filecoin, Flow, Sand, Algo. If ARK is at 52, my guess is this pile of junk also starts to move up. So you definitely have to be patient with the altcoins and the meme coins. Talked about most of these. Bonk, ranging, nothing. Floki, ranging, nothing. Shib, I talked about. So look, there's just nothing going on. The second we have good news, I will shout it from the mountaintops, but we're just not there yet. We're not there yet. That's all I have for this one. Join me on the stream tomorrow where you can shout any chart you want at me and I'll pull it up. 2 p.m. Eastern. Like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe. And happy trading.